Boom. Welcome to a special edition. Is this a special edition? Well, it definitely is a special edition.
I mean, it's definitely a special edition because it's a not live edition.
That's for sure.
I'd classify it as a special edition.
Definitely special.
I think it's also a special edition because we have a very special guest joining us this evening.
Yeah, for sure. So if you don't know already from the title of the video, welcome to the YDD show. My name is Big Dad.
I'm Sho.
Merrick Henry.
And we have a very special guest with us today. I would have an elaborate, actually no. If you're familiar with the show, my elaborate intros are usually not
They
elaborate.
don't usually go the way you want them to.
All right, so elaborate intro. Oh man, superstar extraordinaire, inspiration to all of North Central Mass.
Say that.
Came in second, but was robbed on AGT.
Talk about
Say that.
What else?
What else?
Bring it home.
We are so thrilled to have with us this evening inside Young Coffee Studios, Lavender Darcangelo and Will Darcangelo.
Let's go.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, it's so great.
Yeah.
It's like this is our most honorable interview that we will ever make.
Oh,
Aw.
wow.
Oh, let's go.
I like that.
Oh, man.
I like that.
So off to a great start already.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we don't, I don't necessarily know where to start exactly.
Mm.
I don't know where to start. So Lavender, I know of you through lore.
Yeah, honestly, like I pass by your picture like 4 or 5 times a week. This is the first time I've ever been in the same room as you.
Wow.
Really?
that's
Wait,
cool.
through
Yeah.
what?
Like lore, like stories, right?
L-O-R-E. Yeah.
Oh.
And,
Like,
there's
who's
a
that?
and there's a
I thought it was somebody from the Marvel Universe.
and there's also the picture of you hanging on one of the bulletin boards outside of the
studio,
Oh,
so I
thank
pass
you.
by you all the time.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah,
oh, that's
I'm
nice.
honored
I feel
to have you here.
honored.
Yeah.
You guys feel honored? I feel honored. Oh man.
It's just
Oh,
all
It's an honor
this is
party.
honorable,
It's an
yeah.
honor
So I do. Typically of these interviews, we try not to ask questions that you're typically been asked in other interviews.
And especially in your case, with how often you've probably been answering the same questions along the circuit.
Yeah, that
of
stuff can all
interviews.
get Googled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so
So
this is
can
going
you-
to be
But that doesn't
fun.
even won't answer them if you want to ask.
Imagine. Oh God.
So first, personal question.
Yeah.
Being visually impaired, I'm newly visually impaired.
Mm-hmm.
How has that both been not just a challenge? How has that been? What's the not a the opposite of a challenge
Like a asset.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think it's cool that being blind, like I can like I'm forced to pay attention to other sensory experiences. Like it's not like my hearing gets amplified. It's more like because because I can't see, like I'm forced to pay attention to more subtle sounds, and
Like your listening is more practiced.
my listening is more practiced. And I can't really think of a challenge other than the fact that I'm also on the spectrum as well as blind, and I think that a lot of the solutions that have been tailored for the blind, it's almost like I need a much more tailored solution because having processing issues with processing can sort of some of the things that are good for visually impaired people it doesn't really help. It doesn't really solve the problem that you also have processing issues. Like, okay, so like when you watch movies, like there is a thing called audio description, and it's where a narrator describes like Merrick is walking down the hall, and they speak in between the dialogues, and that's great and all. It's great for people who are visually impaired because it provides them visual information. But if you have like learning challenges, then it's not that it doesn't help, but it doesn't really solve that problem, because you're not really following along with the movie.
She only hears like every third syllable. It's coming too fast. But that's one of the nice things about her boyfriend is that he actually takes 7 hours to watch a 2-hour movie with her because he keeps stopping it and explaining what's going on at the speed she can process it.
Which is real love.
And the way
He
I
is
look at
pretty
that,
amazing.
because I consider that to be an asset. And the reason, even though it's also an obstacle, like to me, when Lavender needs support for something, that automatically engages someone's compassion. And they, in a moment where they might not have been engaging compassion, you know. And Brian, like her boyfriend Brian, like demonstrates all this compassion for her on like a daily basis. And to me, as a person who is, you know, a spiritual leader and minister of 2 churches, the idea of sending out a ripple effect of compassion in the universe every time somebody helps her with something, like I think that's beautiful. And so I think that you know, her needs and anybody's needs for that matter are like a gift to the raising of the vibration of everything. You know, so I think that if there's an asset to be had in what would otherwise be described as limitations, that's, I think, the overall biggest benefit. You know, any other assets you can think of?
Let's see, assets.
Assets.
Well, you know, to be honest, like I feel like I've met so many people like from being disabled, like, you know, like I think it's cool. Like I met like my best friend Greg, and if I wasn't blind, like I would not know who the heck he is. You know, so like he is he's a really cool guy, and he takes a lot of time to like ask me a lot of questions about like, okay, so like how you know, like because I'm blind and autistic, like he tends to ask like, okay, but how does that work? Like how, like, you know, like I want to see how I can help you understand, you know, this, you know, thing that you're having trouble processing, whether it's like a cooking direction or, you know, like if we're listening to a YouTube video together and he's getting it and I'm not, like, you know, so like I think he's cool because like I guess like it doesn't really occur to everybody to do that because like I'm smart, you know, so like, and I'm not saying I'm not smart.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, like I have processing things, so things getting in the head might be a little bit challenging. So yeah.
But once it's in the head, then she owns it. You know, she's got like a huge vocabulary because we spend time working on what words mean, what's the context, asking 10 different questions about it, and then boom, it's locked in place and usable.
So that asks, to answer the question, the asset is meeting the people. The third asset I can think of is that I actually sang "Unbreak My Heart" before I can talk.
Oh wow!
I don't really remember it, but I would mimic I would mimic the way she did it, but I didn't know what the words meant.
Break my heart, like,
Is that Tony Braxton?
Yep,
Tony
Tony
Braxton.
Braxton. Yep.
Say love me again.
Well, there's actually a cool story about that. That's a bit of a sidebar to what we're talking about. But so when she was on America's Got Talent, and she did her celebrity duet with songwriter Diane Warren.
Yes, which was wonderful, by the way.
Diane Warren wrote that song.
Oh wow!
And we got to tell her that when we were working with her.
Oh my gosh, I
that
forgot.
The song that she sang before she could even speak was written by the woman she got to be on national television.
Isn't that's like happenstance?
Yeah,
so I think that I don't know if that's
and
the right
Diane
word.
was like, "Oh my God, that's like full circle."
That
That's
is
in
too
the
beautiful for words.
Isn't that
interconnectedness
great?
of
I didn't even.
I have like
think-
a vague
I forgot
memory
she
of
wrote
me
that.
going, "Without you, go on."
Yeah.
But not knowing what those words meant back then,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's-
that was like a really like we'd already rehearsed with Diane at her studios in Hollywood in preparation for her performance with her. And she and Jamie and I were walking down the street like heading to Target to go shopping or whatever, and all of a sudden Jamie looked up who wrote that song, and we like stopped right on the sidewalk,
He was like,
picked up our
"Diane,
jaws,
Mom!"
and then like we couldn't wait to like get
Oh,
back.
wow.
Oh yeah,
in
we
with
were crossing
Diane.
the street when we.
Yeah, like
He was on his
Oh
phone.
Yeah.
man.
yeah, that was
Imagine we
really-
got hit by a car.
Oh no!
story.
It's like
ends right
Diane
there.
Warren.
Roll the credits.
Short story.
Yeah.
If
Short
I
but
could,
good story.
if I could just briefly interject real quick, just to add on to this.
Yeah.
Lavender. So for those that don't know, Lavender and I go way back in our history
to the
together.
maternity ward.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Literally born on the same day in the same hospital, hours apart. Kind of surreal. My musical journey is very much intertwined with Lavender's, so obviously I was sort of an emotional wreck seeing you on TV, getting to share
Oh, I
your talents and your
know.
dreams with the rest of the world, and everyone finally getting to see how amazing we've always known you to be, you know?
Oh, thank you.
But when I knew you all the way back in high school, you were really on top of this more than anyone else, myself included. You really felt like you understood more about who you were as far as being on the autism spectrum. Like you really felt that you were different compared to others. Not obviously not in a negative way, but just you were really on top of this beforehand. And I personally never quite gave you enough credit for really knowing where you were on the spectrum. And this was before probably you and I would even have had as much research on the topic in general. But you were ahead of this first, and I give you a lot of credit for understanding who you were even at that point in time at like 16, 17.
Oh my God,
you know?
Thank you so much.
I'll add another layer to that because she hadn't even gotten her formal autism diagnosis yet.
I had gotten something like something in the 3rd grade. It was like PDD or something, which is an outdated form of autism that I don't think exists anymore.
No, it does not, because that was my diagnosis too.
Oh my God, it was?
Yes.
Wow.
Keep going intertwined.
Can I ask a question to piggyback off what Merrick's asking?
Yeah.
And maybe Greg can chime in. I know he doesn't have a mic right now. Is that the self-awareness because of the visual impairment?
I guess I never really thought of that. I would think that self-awareness is more like the autism, because it's like, you know, like I feel like I guess I feel like if you are neurodivergent, you're more forced to have insight because your brain is already so wired differently that it's like you're
already outside the box.
You're already thank you.
I'll pass my mic over. Go ahead.
This is my best friend Greg, by the way.
Hi, Greg.
Just sort of in perspective, I'm thinking, you know, having to process the world differently, and having to understand how other people process the world in a way that you don't is almost like a double. You have to observe how you are behaving in difference and in similarity to those around you.
Right.
And how to adapt that behavior to how it works for you or how it might be socially appropriate. So there's definitely, I think, a high level of awareness. I don't think it's specifically what's the correlated? Yeah, well, it's I guess correlated. It's not causation. Is that the other one? Yeah. So I would say there's a correlation there, but maybe not like causation. But I think it's really fascinating to wonder about.
Oh yeah.
I also think that, you know, part of the gift of the autism world to the rest of us is that it's not just an ability to think outside the box. It's really like existing outside the box, which forces all of this creativity about, you know, other things that are occurring that have nothing to do with it. And so it probably has, you know, and also she views herself as opposed to a blind person who is on the spectrum. She is a person who's on the autism spectrum who
cannot
also
see.
happens to be blind.
Sure.
Yeah.
So she views and that was one of the things that she said was really important to her, and whatever image we were projecting through the course of interviews and participating in the show and all, was that the public understand that her autism is her identity and the blindness is an additional thing to it.
Right.
And I had it, and I'm saying that I had it reversed in my head as far as understanding who Lavender was back then. So I appreciate you being more aware of that and being ahead of the curve than myself and maybe others were giving you credit for. And also at the time too, autism was viewed in a very different light. I mean, back then PDD was an official diagnosis 10 years ago, and even 5 years ago. Yeah. And so we've all obviously learned so much about ourselves being on the spectrum and others, how they view autism in general. So it's obviously a different world somewhat that we live in nowadays to take that info in. I just always appreciate you for that.
Yeah, of course.
Let me ask a question on this world. This is a running theory that we have here. Do people on the spectrum tend to flock together?
Well, sometimes and sometimes not, because it really depends, because like when you've met one, right? So like what if you met somebody who like was hyposensitive, and so they crave like textures, they crave like, you know, they crave like sensory input, like they love trampolines, and this is true in my case, like they love big swings. And then they could be really good, like they could meet somebody who is like hypersensitive, who might like, and that might like contrast. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly.
I think you are. The differences can be so varied.
So they could trigger each other.
It might be harder to find somebody who actually has complementary idiosyncrasies, I'll use for lack of a better word.
Right.
You know, whereas in the neurotypical world, it's kind of easier to meet people who are having common experiences, you know,
Right.
common histories.
I've met a lot of autistic people in which they inadvertently trigger each other because like one is like this
Right.
way and one is that way,
Yeah.
and it's like
Like one is typically loud and the other is sound
Don't line
sensitive,
up.
right?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Or
Yep.
one person loves smells and the other person can't stand certain smells. You know.
Yeah.
So
So
if
it's
anything,
both.
it's probably hard to find people on the spectrum that with whom you can really, and then you'll get surprised.
Yeah.
And somebody who totally understands your experience.
That's where I feel like I'm lucky to have met Brian. Yeah, he is on
boyfriend,
this.
yeah.
My boyfriend Brian. He's on the spectrum too, and like he can pick out things that other like he can explain myself. Like he kind of explains to other people where I'm coming from. Like he sort of picks at my brain in
Do
a
you
way.
suppose it's like
I don't know
if
how
you
to
find the
explain
right
this.
person, the bond is even more intense.
Yeah.
But that it's hard to find the right person.
Like if I try to ask
sure.
a question and he'd be like, here's what she's really asking or whatever. Like yeah.
or
yeah.
the fact that you're not getting it, or
He'd be
he'll
like,
pick
she's
up on
not
that.
getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something actually that I've developed too over the years. I'll hear somebody
Right.
describe something to you, asking you a question. I'm like, there's no way Lavender's picking up on that right now. And then I'll just automatically hop in.
Yeah.
You know.
He does that too.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also too, I mean, you've been around her for over a decade, you know, so you just
Mm-hmm.
then understanding that person in general. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
certainly, but
Mhm.
also too all these
Definitely,
extra
too.
elements that we're talking about.
Mhm.
Right.
But Brian has a particular type of insight that I'll never have.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what makes what you two have so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
It's been quite an adventure so far.
And it was amazing that you were able to, you know, showcase that side of yourself for the whole world to see. You know, when you were
Thank
able to talk
you.
about that afterwards.
Right. Because like the thing is like something I would like to bring more awareness of is like you can be really, really talented but struggle with like some like, you know, some autism things. Like, okay, like, you know, like certain things might be a little overwhelming or like you might feel like a big giant hangover after a big show or like I
Oh,
wonder.
you don't say Merrick.
What?
I didn't mean to call Merrick out, but Merrick, this is something that me like.
We know this about Merrick.
We
Yep.
know this about Merrick.
Yep, that's
We know this
true.
about
He's
Merrick,
got to
but we
protect
know
himself
he's
and
not.
recover.
I do, especially as I've gotten older. I personally have to be far more protective of myself post performance
Oh,
because there are
yeah.
many that do not understand the emotional toll that shows take. And I can only imagine what this was like for you, Lavender, out west with the stakes
Yeah.
never been higher than that. You know, so like
Yeah.
I don't want to. In this case, I don't want to say that I fully understand because I've never
I
tackled
think
that
you
side
kind
of
of
things.
do. Yeah.
I probably
also-
understand it to a large degree, but
And Merrick, I think your situation also is even more expanded than Lavender's in many ways because you like are so involved in the production of your
Oh my,
performances.
you're like a showman.
and you do things that it usually takes a team of 10 people to do.
yeah.
And so, not being a person, being neurotypical, which I'm putting in quotation marks and probably with an asterisk or two,
exclamation point.
I know how exhausting it is to produce your own performances. Okay,
Flowers.
and so and I know that you produce far more than I ever did when I was doing my own performances. So I'm sure that you have an even broader perspective on that type of burnout than Lavender even does, because on AGT they handled her with kid gloves, and if she felt overwhelmed, they're like, "Okay, you're wrapped for the day." And when she had her first big giant red carpet experience, which Jamie and I walked the red carpet with her, and it's just the way you kind of see on TV where there's like a whole
interview
bunch
after
of
interview.
cameras,
Yeah.
all like over here, tilt your head up, look down, smile, and like they're shouting at you.
Yeah.
And then you move further down the red carpet, and then there's like Entertainment Tonight and Hollywood Weekly
People.
and People Magazine.
Oh my God.
Parade, like, and the intensity of that first red carpet.
Wasn't there like 15 new media news
Yeah,
outlets?
and when we thought it was done,
Wow.
then 3 more who'd been sitting off
Yep.
waiting for us to get to them, they popped up, and I kept telling Lavender, I'm like, okay, I think it's over now. And then 3 more people would come, I'm like, okay, it's not over now.
And to still have to work up that energy when you think you can finally
And
break, but you still have to
She handled herself
maintain
like
it.
a pro in a way that I certainly couldn't have. She gave them soundbite after soundbite. I'm watching all their jaws drop, and they're like, oh my God, I want to write that down. And afterwards, she's like, okay, that was really intense. I can't do that like that again. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I talked with our PR rep from AGT, and they're like, okay, we will completely restructure the entire red carpet the next time Lavender has to do it.
I
and
feel
they
so
did.
entitled.
But they did it, and they made it so that only a couple photographers were taking pictures on behalf of everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and they only allowed the top tier media to actually ask her questions directly.
Oh wow,
And
yeah.
Brian walked that red carpet with her, actually,
Yep.
and he loved it. And the whole thing was like they just were so willing to cater it to them. And also, like the Las Vegas show that she's going to be performing at the Luxor in
February.
And
let's go.
yeah,
Let's go.
and
Yeah, let's go.
here's
love
the
it.
cool thing: when we got the dates and everything like that and stuff, we saw there was rehearsal from December
15th to the 20th.
And we're like, okay, well, in the middle of December, we will travel to Vegas for this rehearsal. We were all prepared to do it.
Happy holidays.
And then we called to find out, is there anything we can do about that? And she, because it might be difficult for us to travel right now. And, is that going to cut her chances of doing it at all? And they're like, we weren't even planning on have you being at rehearsals. We wanted to take it easier on her. We're just going to have a stand-in for tech and everything, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and she's like, oh my God, we must have forgotten
Talk
to tell
about
you.
manifestation.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like even in this industry where you expect them to be like, nope, you got to be here, you got to push this hard, you got to do this, that, the other thing, they're like, what do you need? What can we change? What can we alter, shorten, reduce, make accessible to you so that you don't get burned out from wanting to do this forever? We're not going to exploit you until you're dry.
I want other autistic people or neurodivergent people or people with ADHD to hear this because I want them to realize that they can go out and do things and be accommodated and have boundaries. Like boundaries are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And explaining them.
Let's
Talk
go.
to them.
Tell them about
That's the whole platform of our advocacy on this whole thing is like getting people who feel like they would be challenged in a traditional show business setting,
Right.
or even if they want to be an author, the things that demands that are on them,
Like
all
the
these
book
different kinds
signings
of
and stuff.
things.
That's
But if you're
yeah.
honest with the people who are handling you and say, look, I may have my talents, but I also have these very challenging limitations. Can you please accommodate me?
But also
And
too,
they do.
but also for those when they discover that they need to establish those boundaries, they're not freaking out thinking that there's something wrong with them.
Well,
Right.
How much did you worry about that? You being whether or not people would be willing to accommodate you.
Well, I a lot. Like I was thinking, oh gee, I must be very entitled.
When after my trip to LA last year, I kind of sort of slept in for like a month and a half
Oh, I bet.
straight.
Oh,
like
wow.
I kind of sort of set that into my time with LA. Like when I was in LA for 2 weeks, the whole second week I was basically in the motel for 5 days, and I didn't move, didn't want to do anything. Straight Domino's and Pizza Hut and McDonald's, and it was great.
Do
It was
you go
bliss.
easier on yourself when you have to go through that? Are you gentle with yourself? Or
Yes.
do you judge yourself?
Not judging. No.
Good.
I'm past that now.
Oh,
That's the
good.
point of
I'm
advocacy.
too
Right.
old to judge myself in that regard.
That's
like
good.
I'm old enough now where I'm like, no, you know what? I gotta have some inner peace with
just
this.
accept who you
Right.
are.
And
'Cause
some
that's a big part of the challenge is Lavender just accepting who she was and limitations, and that is okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I kind of forget that I have those limitations. That sometimes they hit me again. I'm like, oh, I kind of pushed myself too far, and I need to step back. But I'm not judging myself in that regard. I'm just reminded I gotta think about what I do with my performance time and my obligations and all this. I gotta just rethink it differently. I can't
After I get my
overextend
COVID
myself.
shot, I make sure I have no scheduling the next day.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
In case I don't
exactly
feel
like
good
that,
The
yeah.
next day,
Yeah.
But it's great that you guys are advocating for that because it really is important because there are so many people who are in the arts who are neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Or have stage fright even. Gee.
Yeah. No
Even that
question.
actually requires that. Lavender's,
Right.
kind of grappling with the notion that she can be a performer without actually performing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because
Absolutely.
live performances, it can have a lot of that kind of pressure, and it makes her want to stop everything. But if she's just recording and doing social media with occasional appearances live here and there, even though that's not what the industry is used to,
Right.
it is actually at this point in time willing to accept those kinds of things.
Louis Capaldi, I'll have to share. Like he has Tourette's. He's a singer.
Yep.
I think he ticked in his last performance when he sang that song "When the Day Bleeds." And the audience finished the song for him. That's beside the point. That's awesome.
Oh, they did?
And so
Oh my
he
God, that's so
he
sweet.
stopped. He decided I'm gonna stop performing. I'm mostly going to do social media and recording. And I thought that was cool that he did that.
Well, there's room in
Like,
the world for that.
It
now.
kind of made
There
me
is.
feel better about myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But like that was kind
And
of an
you
eye
would, by
opener.
extension, would be making other people feel better about themselves. Because
Right.
they're seeing you actually succeed,
Right.
even though you have to create these boundaries.
In fact,
for
who
yourself.
told me this was my caseworker who works with my autism, like my Department of Developmental Services.
Wow.
Karen, yeah.
Yeah, so sharing that kind of thing and advocating for the fact that you can actually still be a professional in the world. And it's not just performing arts, obviously, because it could be any type of professional work.
Right.
That, that people who are neurodivergent are entitled to a place in the world.
For sure. And let me not throw a wrench in the people's world, but I do want to acknowledge that during the pandemic, a lot of people realized went undiagnosed with some with neurodivergency. And I think I think we're now seeing those effects of that realization that people's scarcity in their time, how much time they're spending in high energy work, right? Because America's just 9 to 5. We going.
Yeah, accomplish.
And still looking to do that even post COVID, which is strange as hell to me. But
it's not a realistic goal for the standard human. I don't know what the standard human is right now, but
no such person.
There's no
I
standard.
know.
9 to 5, 5 days a week. Yeah, let's just go back like nothing.
Which
ever
also
changed.
brings
Okay.
me to the school that I want to create that has that sort of philosophy.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of founding a school right now.
Okay. Are we getting the exclusive right now? Dish.
Well, we've been talking about this, but new stuff has happened since the last time we've been interviewed. So yeah.
All right, let's rock.
What are the
Developments,
updates
new
then?
developments.
What can you share as far as the updates go?
We can share wherever we're at because none of it's a secret. But do you want me to tell them?
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
sure. So in October, Lavender was invited to be the keynote speaker for this educational foundation called the YAS Prize. It's YASS. Right? You've heard of the YAS? So Jeff Yass and his wife, whose name escapes me right now, they have this family foundation where they give like $30 million a year towards education innovation. And so they invited Lavender to be the keynote speaker at their gala in October in Cleveland, part of which was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Sick.
And so, they invited us all, they flew us all out and put us up, and Lavender gave her speech. And afterwards, I got so many business cards from all these educational innovators who are like, I don't know how, but I need to help this person. Mrs. Yass is like, we need to do whatever we can. Jeff Yass was like, we have to make sure the school happens. And since then, in fact, just last week, I had a phone meeting with last year's $1 million prize winner. And she was at our table. This woman, Diana Diaz, who's founded
Because it was a dinner thing.
It was this big dinner gala. In fact, the Beach Boys played at it.
Oh, cool.
That's how big this thing was, right?
Surfing USA.
And I know you'd think there's still one Beach Boy left, but they've got additional musicians, right?
It's the Beach Boys of Theseus.
And meanwhile, we didn't even know they were playing there. There was these two giant surfboards on either side of the stage, and we're like, why are those surfboards there? And then we found out afterwards it's because the Beach Boys were playing. And apparently everybody else knew this but us. But anyway, so Lavender does her speech. Everybody's all moved and crying. And what they do is they give $1 million prize every year to the educational innovators. But they also have 64 semifinalists who each get a $100,000 grant.
Oh, cool.
And then those 64 become 33 semifinalists who each get another $100,000 added to that. Then they become finalists, and then they get even more. I don't even know how much. And then eventually it whittles down to a $1 million winner. And the $1 million winner is actually being announced this week for this year in New York. And so the call that I had with Diana Diaz last week, I thought it was just going to, she was going to help out a little bit, pick her, that I was going to get to pick her brain about how did you do this. Well, apparently there is an autism-focused charter school accelerator program that she and other people have designed. And Mrs. Yass personally asked Diana Diaz to oversee anything that we need to get this school going. And there's already lobbyists working on our behalf, figuring out when we need to submit our letter of intent to the state, all these kind of details. Like for me being a person who's, raging ADHD, and Lavender and Merrick can attest to how disorganized I can be, there's no way that school is going to get founded if I'm strictly in charge of the administrative aspect of it. That's just not happening. And they are hand-holding us through the whole thing.
Yeah.
They have figured, and the Yass family is all wanting to make sure we have what we need. This autism-focused charter school, acceleration program, to have somebody like Lavender who is a proto-student, somebody who actually wants to directly benefit from the school they're going to found. That's not a thing that people have heard before. You know, that's not usually the type of thing that happens. So they see Lavender as being like this perfect, emblematic person for what an autism-focused charter school could be like, and the type of person for whom it would benefit, and how music is important to, you know, autism education. Like, it's like something that I thought was a pipe dream in March is like, now it's actually going to happen. That even I can't sabotage it with my lack of organization. And that there's just people there and money there and advocacy and lobbying, that it's all going to actually happen.
Yep.
And so it's going to be called
That's
the
so
Hill
wonderful.
School.
That is awesome. The Hill School?
The Hill School.
Okay.
And do you want to explain a little bit about that?
So this school is going to be about first of all, it's called the Hill School because it's when you think of like at the top of the hill, like you get to see more than just the child. And this is going to be a school that is all about the idea that all behavior, even bad behavior, is communication. You know, so it's going to be like a whole child, seeing from the child from the bottom up. And that's kind of like the way it is when you look at a hill. And the other reason why I wanted to call it a hill school is because I had an aide who works with me because I'm blind and stuff. Like, she, you know, would do worksheets with me when I was in high school. And her name was Miss Linda Hill. And she, I feel like my school is inspired by, you know, some of the things that she said.
That she did do, and also the things that she couldn't do.
And yeah.
Like it's sometimes what, you know, the things that Miss Hill would do wasn't ideal. She
Right.
came from a loving place, you know, but you don't know
yeah.
what you don't know. And
Sometimes people who mean well, like when they're trying to help you, sometimes it ends up, you know, making you feel like, oh man, you know, this isn't helping. Like, this is.
But if only a school existed like this, you know, it's sort of in Lavender's mind. She figured out the way her ideal school would be based on some of the things that Miss Hill was not equipped to do.
Yeah.
So it's both an honoring and a forgiveness, you know, to name it the Hill School.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be started in all likelihood. It's going to be in Lancaster, Massachusetts.
And Miss Hill is no longer on this earth. So I want to, you know, like I want to say, you know, rest in peace, Linda Hill. Love you, even though we butted heads, and that you know, she didn't know how to understand me sometimes. Like, she taught me what I want my school to be like.
I recall just that that at some points there were some trying times of just trying to, you know, understand each other. I remember some conversations that you and I had, but regardless, I think she would be so incredibly proud of you, how far you've come, what you've accomplished, what you are accomplishing, you know, right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think she would love the dedication, and yeah, it would mean the world to her that you've gone as far as you have and are only
so
continuing
much.
to shoot for the skies
Thank
with
you so
this
much.
platform.
Thank you.
I know. Most of them. So before we pivot, we're gonna pivot here. We're gonna pivot here hard and fast.
Cool.
So brace yourself.
Okay, you brace yourself.
I do have one topic that I just want
Let's
to briefly
pivot.
touch on before we pivot, but I want you to talk your
Okay.
talk
Well,
beforehand.
yeah, 'cause
So,
we're at questions of the questions. So
Mhm.
Topic.
okay, I'll cut it short then because the topics are going to be the far more entertaining bit. Our musical history, all three of us go back to Will Darcangelo and the Tribe.
Yep,
Oh,
2010,
gosh.
man.
2010.
We got all together.
We were
I would not
babies.
be doing pop music if not for Will Darcangelo. I wouldn't be doing music in general. I wouldn't have met you guys. We wouldn't have this studio. None of this happens. Would have never met Barney. This doesn't happen without you. And I've said this to you numerous times up the wazoo. But I'm letting everybody know this man is the reason why I'm here today. So
I know.
with all of our history together and what you guys just went through, and I'm including you in this too, Will, because you just went through the adventure of a lifetime out west
I was
too.
on stage there too, yeah.
I don't know if this has been truly talked about in all the rest of your interviews, but can you guys just briefly talk about how our time in the Tribe prepped you for what happened this past year? You know, just all of that musical history leading up to this point. Could you guys just briefly talk about the impact of the Tribe on where you guys are at now and the journey that you
I'll
just
start
went
off
through?
by explaining what the Tribe was for people who
Please,
don't know.
yes.
That man potted today.
I was afraid of this. I knew this would happen too. Continue.
So it was called the Tribe Music Mentorship Project, and I wanted to record an album of mostly my original music with some creative covers here and there. And I had been working with a professional jazz ensemble, and I was a jazz singer and everything. But I wasn't inspired by that, and I thought, I want to record my original music with young kids who have a fire in their belly, talent but no outlet, just like I was when I was in high school. And so I went back to my own high school, Fitchburg High School, and decided I'm just going to create like an after-school rock band. We're just going to record my music, and we'll figure out how it goes. And I'll be the lead singer, but whoever is talented, we'll just feature them to whatever degree their talent, warranted. But anybody be welcome, whether you can sing or not. It's just about that sense of belonging and just being together. And so over 7 years, we recorded an album of mostly original music with about 250 people on it. It's called Strange Among the Different. You can actually look it up. And
it is available on all streaming platforms.
Yes. And so we had our own little classroom at Fitchburg High School that we made kind of like our garage band space. And kids came and went, and they could be, they could just be part of it for 5 minutes or for 5 years. And it was this wonderful thing. And so I just want to put that backstory about when we say tribe. That's what we're talking about, is the tribe. And one of the cool things is Lavender helped people with, the initiation into tribe by giving them nicknames. We can talk about that more, but you can go ahead and answer Merrick's question about, like, how do you feel like the tribe prepped you for what we did this year?
Well, I feel like the tribe prepped me because I think because it was so much about acceptance and because there were so many diverse kids in that group.
That's an understatement.
I think that it allowed me to realize, like, maybe the music industry isn't so bad. Like, because like before, I was thinking like, yeah, but you're musically talented and all that, but you have all these problems, if you will, so like okay, like live performing be hard or whatever, things like problems or whatever.
And when they would accept you, remember how you used to think about Simon Cowell when you were 10 years old?
Oh my God, I was terrified of Simon Cowell. Like when I was 10 watching American Idol. Like I was thinking, like,
most of America was.
Right.
That was the
branding. I used to sing a moment like this, and I'd be like, okay, so I strained here, and I know he's gonna like say something really, really mean about how I strained at the end when she goes, oh, I can't believe. So I'm like thinking he's gonna be so mean to me, blah 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 blah.
Meanwhile, all these years later, she got to tell Simon Cowell to his face while we're standing on stage with him after the show stopped.
Oh my God.
And so he was like so gushy and lovey to her, and so she had that spectrum of experience that just like is so mind blowing to me, that she was terrified of him as a kid, thinking I could never be a singer because of that.
I just figured like Tribe was like the first step towards me realizing that you can be a singer and be different at the same time. Like like you don't have to go towards the traditional, I don't know, music.
Like you don't have to be Britney Spears.
Yeah, you don't have
in order to make it in the music industry.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure maybe Britney Spears has like some divergent thing in her.
So
everybody
she's
does.
Not the perfect example.
But
Taylor Swift.
Oh no, we've been seeing Britney out here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like her knife dance. I mean, that's some weird crap. Right? Maybe
she was getting it.
I think more like Lady Gaga is more like part of how I am encouraged. Like
sure,
she's a little different.
Like
but and she's fully accepting of her differences.
Yeah,
and she makes her differences her
Baby,
art.
I was born this way.
Yeah.
just seeing you two on stage for when the finale was happening, it really, from where I was sitting, it just felt like a culmination of just a powerful journey, and so many things that were shared on camera, so many things that weren't for whatever reason, but it was just a powerful moment to see, and just for myself, just being a part of such an incredible group, such a remarkable time in our lives.
Kids with us there for the for the filming and stuff like that. It felt like a very it really felt like a nice tribe experience, starting in 2010 and culminating in this awesome experience this year, because that still felt like an extension of what we were all doing as a tribe.
No question.
Sure.
You must have been so proud.
I don't think proud really covers it.
Sure.
I wish I could come up with a good word, and maybe I will.
Or don't.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Pride to the 12th power.
Ask a math teacher.
Yeah, I'll ask a math teacher.
I only can count to 8, so.
I'll ask Miss Hill. She was good at math.
Well, full circle, and now that we're here, is that I met Will about 5 years ago, where he was trying to continue Tribe, but was identifying that he had a lack of capacity. and was trying to reach out to other mentors and things like that. So full circle.
Yeah, and here you are.
Here we are.
And this studio is in a building that one of the churches that I'm minister of, which I think is so great. You add the perfect vibe to this building. So
and really,
I'm so glad
what
you're
Derek's
here.
been doing with our interns here at Young Coffee as of late is it's kind of it's continuing the message, and hopefully that expands
Big
into
Dad.
future things. But
It's
yeah,
like a ripple effect.
Big Dad's bringing it back. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
It's great. I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to be. We started this room. A lot of honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to. But to the hard pivot. We got a hard pivot.
We got a hard pivot.
Okay.
We knew we were coming. Yes. Okay.
So we have a set of questions. We're not gonna ask all the questions, but we're gonna ask the questions. We gotta ask them hard and fast because you gotta answer very quickly. Because it's like these are things that the people ultimately want to know. These are the things they really actually no. They might not want to know this, but it will give them insight into how you think and or how you become the artist and or the person that you are today. Not directly, but indirectly through some of the answers that you may or may not give.
Okay.
And you'll answer them whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Show.
Okay.
So I don't mean this for the populace, because I mean this for the people who actually know you, Lavender. What is the thing that you are most known for?
I guess the thing I'm most known for is I'm a singer, and I advocate for like disabilities and things.
Okay.
Or soft advocate.
All right. Hard pivot from that question. What is your guiltiest pleasure? What's one thing that
Chicken on the bone,
All right. Let's go.
Is
Have
that
you
like
ever
fried chicken.
Is that a guilty pleasure or is that just normal?
have you
Well,
ever
it has
been
to
to
be on
Bonchon?
the bone, and it has to have the skin and everything.
So all fattening and salt and everything.
alright.
Do you
Although
like
my
do you
dad
like
might
fried
say root
chicken?
beer is my.
Do you like fried chicken? You just
Yes, I do.
live
Have you ever been
I
to
live-
Bonchon fried chicken?
No,
Oh wow.
we gotta go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
It's very good.
But I've gone to Rosters in L.A.
Oh.
Or was it? It wasn't called
Roscoe's.
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 Rosters.
Chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles.
Best place you've had fried chicken from.
Roscoe's.
All right.
Shout out Roscoe.
Shout out Roscoe.
Shout out to Roscoe's.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, thank God. Thank goodness AGT, because if it weren't for AGT, I wouldn't go there.
You made it.
Oh, we're gonna get along just
Jamie and I
fine.
got to go to the original.
Yo, fried chicken and Bonchon is our jam.
Yeah, we go there all the time. So
Wow, I want to go.
there's one in Nashua.
I wonder if it's on the bone. Okay.
It is.
Yeah, have to be.
Oh, okay.
It is. They do only drumsticks and wings.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. All right. Anyways, I have more questions.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any like real life heroes?
Real life heroes. I guess. But wait. Real life. Like, what do you mean real life? Because like a hero I have is like, Kane Brown. I also like admire my favorite audiobook narrator, Madeline Bazard.
I haven't heard you say those names in so long. Warms my
Oh
heart.
my God.
Sorry,
Donated
takes me back.
$500 to Lavender's album.
Yes!
Amazing.
Let's go.
And sent her a Christmas
I
card.
like
Let's go.
sobbed. Like I sobbed. I thought I was
Yeah.
gonna pee
That's a real life hero.
because she has
That
no
is a real life
idea what
hero.
she did.
That is a real life hero.
She was so inspiring for you.
I mean,
my
to
God.
some people, you were probably a real life hero. You
Oh,
are.
Thank you.
You're just
I just think because like I received a lot of audiobooks as a kid because I'm blind, so I get a lot
Yeah.
of free audiobooks, and so I always have been fascinated by the career of audiobook narration, and like I always think like,
neat.
oh wow, like what do they do if they're reading a book that makes them cry? Like what if it's a book about World War II and they have a relative
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that died from like things like that. Like I don't know.
That's interesting.
I've recently gotten into audiobooks actually because I have a very long commute. So a way that I can burn, part of that hour each way is by listening to audiobooks. So
Oh wow.
my current favorite narrator is Roy Dotrice.
Oh, never heard of him. Okay.
He's reading me Game of Thrones at the moment.
Nice.
Okay. Wow, that's
Outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
Read to me Game of Thrones on the way to work.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I mean it is intense. It's an intense
Yeah.
story.
Oh, wow.
here's a question for you.
Mhm.
Which words or phrases do you most overuse?
I make up my own words.
Okay.
So I can't really think of anything that would make sense to the audience.
Well, you can just throw out some of those made-up words.
Stanchta,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Arches.
what you call me and Will.
Chichi,
Yep.
Yep, stuffy stuff.
Stuffy stuff,
Okay.
Kushball.
I feel like to some degree everybody kind of makes up their own words.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's got their
I
own
don't think
funny
people make up
little
words
language.
like that though.
Oh, like
It's
I
like
mean,
stanchta. It's like, why would you make that? I don't know.
Well, and there's a little bit of story to that, but that she has synesthesia or is
Yeah.
synesthetic. And so, for people who aren't familiar with synesthesia it's an involuntary association between unrelated subjects. Like my cousin has it in a way where every letter of the alphabet has its own color.
mhm.
It's involuntary, and the words that come from those, have a swirl of colors.
yeah.
And some people have, they can taste names. Lavender sees shapes and textures in people's voices.
And
so
then in those
are
shapes and textures, there's names to them.
and those are the names that we were just using. So,
Yep.
and so Merrick and
Oh.
I have a similar voice structure. Since I've known Lavender so intensely, my own category kind of evolved as well. But her friend Greg is the shape of a tuna can or a muffin.
And the
Yeah.
word for that is tatutu.
Yep.
So I call him tatutu.
Yep. He's been tattooed for 10 years.
10 years of
10 years of
tattoo.
tattoo.
10 years of tatutu.
Real quick, just before we continue on, Will, would you mind introducing us to our very special guest that's over to your right?
Oh, you mean this fine furry friend
Yes.
right here? This is beautiful Stella, and she's Greg's guide dog.
Stella is camera ready, so I
Yes,
wanted to
yes.
acknowledge her.
Stella, and you'll notice Stella has a beautiful beauty mark right there.
Oh yeah.
Marilyn Monroe.
I
And
didn't
she's
even know
recently
dogs
gotten
could
a
get beauty marks.
bath, and so she's soft and sweet smelling and kind.
I
and
know. It's
Wonderful.
almost like, why can't we be groomed? I'm just kidding.
so,
I
yes,
just
that-
wanted to make sure she got her due. That's all.
Yeah, since she was appearing on camera.
No, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
She's good. She's good.
So have you ever been given a piece of advice that you just thought was the greatest piece of advice anyone has ever given?
Well, I feel like it has swears in it though.
You-
I
Great.
think that probably
I'm
is.
okay with
So-
that.
Yes.
My dad has said this, and I say this all the. I repeat this to my boyfriend now. If those bitches ain't paying your bills, you ain't paying bitches no mind.
Hey,
So-
Yo, talk
let's go.
Talk
That's
to him.
an audio clip
Like,
right
okay,
there.
so like if let's say if a fan is bothered by something that I do or
Yeah.
something that I said or whatever, it's like, okay, well they don't pay my bill, so like I don't have to perform at this thing, or I don't have to do this thing, or whatever it is that
Yeah.
this fan wants me to do, or whatever. Like I don't know, yeah. So
I like that.
Yeah, those.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just press it.
We're gonna have to
Yeah.
put that on the
Bitches ain't paying your
soundboard.
bills, don't pay them bitches no mind.
You
Right.
rest.
That's actually, and I can't. I'm not the originator of that. It's actually, but I heard it from RuPaul. So.
oh wow, oh
Sure.
that's right.
Yeah, and I passed that on to Lavender to help her kind of realize, you know what?
You don't
these people
owe
are
people
not,
an explanation.
Yeah, their satisfaction is not your responsibility.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And their influence over you should not be sized to any degree greater than what they contribute to your life.
Right.
Talk your
Right.
talk.
Right.
Love
Like,
it.
oh, why did you paint the wall green? It's like, oh, whatever.
Because
You
I
don't-
liked green.
you don't
I
pay-
wanted green.
You don't pay my bill or whatever.
Yeah.
And it'll be red tomorrow if I want it to be.
Yes.
All right. These are even faster. These are would you rather. So
'Kay.
You get one choice or another choice.
Okay. I like this game.
Would you rather wear a monitor that beeps when you're lying or beeps when you're attracted to someone?
Beeps when I'm attracted to someone.
Okay.
Straightforward with it.
Well, she doesn't lie.
Yeah, that's
I would
So
say-
that would never beep. So she wouldn't get the enjoyment of it beeping.
I can't lie.
okay.
I do think it's harder for those on the
I
spectrum
was gonna
to
say
lie.
hashtag
Honestly,
autism. I can't lie.
honestly, yeah. I've stopped trying to.
Yeah, me too.
It's just easier.
All right.
Go ahead.
Would you rather blow your nose with sandpaper or use bubble wrap instead of toilet paper?
Use bubble wrap instead of toilet paper. I like the sounds as I'm popping, as I'm wiping my
So
butt.
you'd be like
Popping
popping
and
and farting at the same
Yep.
time.
Yeah, why not?
You
It's a
wouldn't be
good
able-
sensory
you wouldn't be
thing,
able
don't
to
you
tell
think?
which one is which.
Right. It's all a bunch of ripping noises.
Was that me?
Hey, yeah. Why not? Make it an ASMR video. Just
All right.
kidding.
Would you rather be able to erase people's memory
Whoa.
or predict their future?
Predict their future.
Ooh,
For sure.
be a real sage.
Yeah.
Well, this is gonna be interesting for the next question. Then, would you rather face a fork in the road or be forced to pick between 3 doors?
I guess be forced to pick between 3 doors. I don't know. A fork in the road sounds harder. I guess I don't know.
50-50 does feel harder. I get that.
Yeah,
This last one sounds crazy because would you rather never be able to use search engines again or never use smartphone apps again?
Never use a search engine again. Like you can do other things. You can still listen to music and all
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Do we want to go into these what the hex?
Okay.
I say yes.
Okay.
That's
Ooh,
really
what
why
the
we're
heck?
here today. To give Lavender the unique interview experience that she most likely has not had along the
Yeah.
interview route. So
Okay.
talk to him.
First question. Sure.
Have you ever been electrocuted?
Nope. Well, I've been shocked. Like, it's like a little thing. Like, I don't know if my hand is a little wet. Like, it'll be like, I don't know.
Like a little zap?
Is it like a little zap?
Yeah, okay, like a little static.
Yeah.
No, I mean like electrocution.
Wait, well, wouldn't I die if I did?
No, not everybody.
Oh,
I was
guess
one
not
time
then.
changing Christmas lights with my cousin, and she grabbed the filament part of the Christmas light,
Ooh.
and she just got a little shake.
Ooh.
She just did a little shake.
Oh my.
I used to work manufacturing lights, like industrial lights, like in a mall, like strobe lights, yeah. And the batteries that come with ballasts, right? Batteries, and powering, trying to test one of those. Yeah, shocked the hell out of myself.
I stuck my
Oh,
tongue in a light
jeez.
socket once.
Oh God.
That wasn't smart.
What the heck?
I was 8.
Oh my God.
It was live.
Oh yeah.
Whoops.
He stuck his finger in the Christmas light socket.
Oh God.
Yeah, not good.
That's
Tried to laugh it off.
actually
He tried
funny.
to-
We respect trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
Honestly.
We're here for that.
That is actually really funny. I tried to laugh it off, but.
All right.
Lavender, what's your favorite microwavable food?
Let's see. Canned spaghetti
Okay.
Like spaghetti.
or chicken patties. Well, is that microwavable?
I
Yeah.
guess chicken patties are like fast bites.
No.
No, the frozen chicken
Frozen
patties.
ones,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And you mean my canned macaroni like SpaghettiOs?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. With meatballs.
like or beefaroni or
Do you like
whatever.
it with the meatballs? Yeah.
Meatballs? Yeah. You gotta
Yes,
get
it has to have meatballs.
Yes.
There you go.
You're just eating tomato soup otherwise.
In the letter O.
What's the most? I mean, maybe you might not want to answer this. What's the most embarrassing or worst thing your parents ever caught you doing?
It could be your bio family too.
Yeah, I can't really remember. I mean, it's not really embarrassing, but like I was kind of curious with a pair of scissors. And I was like, I wonder what happens if I cut just a little bit of my hair, like just.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not gonna hurt anything, but apparently I cut more hair than I.
Oh, I didn't know that story.
I can't think of an embarrassing thing though. It's I don't know. It was definitely something.
Well,
that
I
counts.
think-
No, it's something.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
I think that works.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever started a rumor about you? And if so, what was it?
Well, I guess because I used to go online like on chat forums like for where you meet like other blind people and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Greg knows this story, but like I guess people have had the impression that I am a bit smug about the music. I guess because of how excited I get.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I'm just for the stage. Like I'm sorry, but like I've always really been excited. Like I've never been nervous to perform, and that's just a fact. Like, and I think like I don't know, like there were some people who were like, somebody should talk to her dads about how that's not appropriate, and I don't know.
Yo, that's trash.
Yeah. Forget them. Be
It's like
excited.
I'm just excited.
Let's remind ourselves of the advice. And those bitches ain't paying your bills.
Yeah.
You ain't
don't
paying
get no-
bitches
You
no
tell 'em,
mind.
Dad.
Let's
Speaking
go.
Speaking of the forum, what was your first screen name? What was your handle? What were you going by?
Oh, just regular. Like it was like Facebook, like
Yeah,
like Lavender
yeah.
Darcangelo. You meet like groups,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Facebook groups. Like there's blind.
Oh, you
Facebook
weren't even on a burner account. You were just out there.
Just out there.
I don't really
It's
go on
her
those
as
forums
her.
anymore because I'm whatever.
Yeah, me. So I'm recently blind, and the forums do not help.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, it's more so. What it did help with was the like so not any other person who I've ever met or know of that's visually impaired has been their whole entire life.
Oh.
So the conversation of like what I'm saying, like losing your vision, having to deal with that. It's basically like somebody died, and it's really just a form of other people complaining about it.
I know that
Yeah.
there's other groups like that. Though.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not helpful. It's just like
Right.
It's
yeah.
there.
It's just a complaint
it's just
session.
complaint. It's just
Right.
complaint.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, all right, never mind. We'll figure it
Plus,
out.
I feel like it's better to interact with people who sort of know you a bit rather than on the internet because they like. I don't like it when people make assumptions. If
Yeah.
they don't know you at all.
Yeah.
Like, why are they
It's-
assuming?
It's a black hole.
I don't know.
like typing on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, there was one troll after the first audition aired, who was like, that guy is not her father, and somebody out there who's like advocating on our behalf. He's like, yeah, that's her father. He's like, no father would have said publicly that their daughter asked them to adopt her. That would shame her. I could tell from her body language that she was totally ashamed
I
by
don't know
that.
anything.
And he is a liar. He is not her father. So he was trying to set a rumor.
Oh,
Yeah.
It wouldn't stick. Like who says that?
Hell
Yeah, and like there
no.
were people like going at him too.
That's
right?
so much effort.
I know.
It's one thing
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
type
so
with no
much energy.
feel like you have no consequences behind the keyboard, but that takes so much effort to put up that much darkness and negativity. That's wild.
For defense, for whomever is trolling, you could have did as much thing that you were doing typing to go search the video on YouTube and watch the whole thing, and then after you watch it, you tell me how fake it is or it's not fake.
Yeah, because our adoption's like online.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly.
Preach.
Straight up.
Crazy.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah,
like,
And
look
it's
at
in the
the
corner.
you know what's interesting is the people who have thought that like I'm smug for being so excited, but like they don't know the burnout that I went through in 2019.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know how early at the store today, 8 people came up to me and I was like, oh, I just want
Yeah,
to get
just
my
getting through the
I
Hannafords.
just want to get my food and like if somebody who truly brags about their music
Yeah.
and about having perfect pitch, they would like lavish in that. Not that I don't, but like it comes with hardships, and I think if you were a true bragger, it wouldn't come with hardships at all. Like you would be like, oh yeah, I'm better than like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like you wouldn't have these burnout things, and I don't know. Yeah, tangent's over.
We didn't touch on burnout. I think we have like a couple more questions. We didn't touch on burnout, but that is the.
It's a
we
big
didn't-
part of her story, though. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it. We knew we talked about this because we wanted to interview Lavender. When did you go viral for singing that?
2019.
2019.
Yeah, after that moment in
Oh,
time
yeah.
where things really propelled, which ultimately led you to AGT and everything else afterwards. Yeah, that was we wanted to have you in to talk about that, and obviously so
Yeah,
much.
because
has
they
happened
approached
since.
us 3 years in a row.
AGT.
She
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, they was.
Oh, they knew.
Yeah.
They,
Oh
they-
yeah.
Yeah.
They said, well, it's okay if she can't do it this year, but as long as our show's on the air, she's welcome.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And they kept saying like, and then December of next year, they're like, so
They
is she?
call again.
Yep.
and-
Yep. Is she doing it?
So yeah, it was just a year ago now that she's like, okay, I will.
Which made your moment on stage that much more special,
Yeah.
at least from what I knew
Because
of
she
the
hadn't
situation.
sung in public for almost 3 years, and her performance on AGT, where she got the Golden Buzzer, was her first public performance in that whole time.
That's why I was not expecting the Golden Buzzer because I figured it would be more evident to the judges that I had not been singing it for 3 years.
We can agree to disagree on that one, hun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Because she really had not been singing. Like even when she would go to church, everybody else would sing the hymns, and she'd just sit there smiling. You know, she didn't even do that.
Y'all trash. Y'all way out.
No, oh my
I'm not
God.
gonna lie. For me, that would be so hard to do because the performance bug is always like itching on my body. I always want to be out there. So for you to be able to just, maybe this wasn't a case of you policing yourself, but just you not putting yourself in a position to perform, that would be tremendously difficult for me. So I give you a lot of credit for that.
Oh, thank you so
Especially because
much.
it's so much a part of your identity.
Yeah.
That it's like you're
Oh my
literally.
God.
You're
What'd
like,
you do?
Well, I didn't want to be
jettisoning-
ill.
yeah.
I knew that my body was like I don't want to like make myself sick. So I'm like, okay, I have no
Yep.
choice.
Like the
but
year
to
that she went
stop.
viral and all the media interviews, and she accepted every single performance offer that was given.
Of course.
And then the pandemic hit. Her last performance before she stopped, or
Was
last
a 40
public performance.
was a 45-minute
Well, no,
concert.
she did.
Oh.
She did a virtual concert during
Oh.
the lockdowns, which was
Oh.
the last time she performed at all. But her last public performance was singing the national anthem for the Boston Bruins, like a week before the lockdowns of the pandemic, 2 weeks, and so
yeah.
that was her last. And then she did like a virtual concert where we
Available on her
spent
YouTube
time-
channel.
Yes, the virtual concerts there.
It's called Life is a Mosaic. Yeah.
And she was able to like record a song, do a video here. Like none of it was live; it was all kind of paced out. So if she were to do concerts now, they would be virtual concerts produced in that way, you know. where-
Over a longer period of
record-
time.
yeah, so
okay,
it wouldn't be
so-
like a big stage performance. It would be like
So you're
something
not gonna,
carefully
you're not
done.
gonna, You're not gonna come do let me switch the camera on to me. Hey, Big Dad over here. A performance in Fitchburg is not in the cards.
Not at the moment. No,
I could surprise you one day. I don't know when, but
But it could happen.
you could. Yep.
but
We love
she's-
that.
Yeah, she's like protecting herself and saying, you know, I want to really focus on recording and social media. And there might be occasional performances. She has agreed to do the Luxor in February, and there are 2 other weeks in April and in September. But they've said if February is too much for you, we'll just drop those. They changed her contract so that there's no penalty for dropping out if she has
Amazing.
to.
Yeah.
And all even things like meet and greets. They changed the language so that their meet and greets are at her discretion. You know, not just because you sign the contract you have to do everything. You know, so she's actually, I'm really proud of how careful she's being, because right now she enjoys recording and doing the social media. But during the burnout, she wasn't even going to have any of that. And she wants to protect herself so that she doesn't drain herself from anything that could possibly earn her an income greater than Social Security. She wants to, you know, be active and do things in the world. And
Not just
live performance has a particular type of burden that, you know, she's afraid will make her want to stop literally everything. And then she has no chance of doing anything beyond earning Social Security, which is great for, you know, it's a great thing to fall back on for an artist, but she doesn't want to live there. She wants to, you know, have that be, you know,
I want to be able to pay for my family's dinners, things like that, like help my family buy a
maybe
house or
own
something.
and maybe own a house for herself and
Yep.
things like that. So, yeah, so live performance is kind of, she might show up at an open mic here and there or something simple, but for the most part,
we'll talk off mic.
but
Yeah.
it's you know, for the most part, it's really about protecting herself so that she can have whatever career is enjoyable for her.
All right, 2
Yeah.
questions. We got 2 questions left. We held you here for longer than an hour. Which is this is actually typical for us. We do this.
We typically run late, and we're sorry about it.
We are just here for you. We
Yep.
are here for it.
All right, I'll ask the question. Have you ever had anything waxed?
Waxed?
Well, I did explain to her what a Brazilian was today.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
Yeah.
But she hasn't had one.
This could be eyebrows.
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
you ever have. No,
And I don't want to.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
have. It sucks.
Oh gosh.
Tell us more.
I think that's a sufficient level of the story.
Oh gosh.
Thanks, Coach.
That's funny.
The follow-up question is, if so, then what? Like,
But-
Gosh.
No.
Nope. Zero. Nada. Sorry.
But if you gave her a trivia question that said, "Do you know what a Brazilian wax is?" she would be able to tell you now.
Yep.
But yesterday she wouldn't have known.
Right. Because he told me today, just 2 hours ago,
We literally just had this conversation.
not knowing that it was going to be on pod.
If we get nothing else for social media, the reaction is the clip.
Waxed.
Wax.
Yes. Oh my God. Wax. Welcome to the YDD show.
Oh my God.
That's
right.
what pulls you in. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in for the next hour.
So I don't know if I'm skipping ahead or skipping another question, but we have one more for you.
Okay.
I think this is like probably the most serious one.
Okay.
If you could send a message to the entire world right now, all the people could hear it and see it. You had 30 seconds to say whatever you wanted them to know. What would it be?
Don't follow the line. You don't have to follow the line of what your parents do for work. You can find work that is meaningful to you and still not be on the streets.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Preach.
I like that.
For the side by side, yo, think Lavender, Will, Greg, Stella.
Stella.
Thank you guys.
What is the dog gonna say? What does the dog say?
She's ready to tell you.
She says
I
hello.
want to tell you.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Lavender, thank you for your time.
It
Will,
was fun.
So
Greg.
exciting that this is happening here and see you know how well you guys are doing, and so yeah.
well,
that's great.
we thank you so much.
No, we thank you so much. This has been fantastic. We really strive to not do an interview that was like any other interview. We watched many of the other interviews that have been conducted.
You have accomplished
Right,
your
you
goal.
have. I love these would you rather and what the hex and things
Yes.
like that.
All
I
right.
love that.
Just before we forget, Lavender, where can all of your friends and new friends find you on social media as they follow your journey?
Lavender Darcangelo Facebook page. My
Everything is pretty much Lavender Darcangelo, and they can actually just Google Lavender social media, and they'll find
All of it'll
like
come
Great.
up.
Twitter.
all
This
of
is
it
just
right
the
there.
reminder
Instagram.
for
There's
all of y'all to do that.
lavenderdarcangelo.com as well. So.
Yep.
Great.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Let's
It's not
go.
extremely extensive, but it can guide you everywhere you need to go.
Hey,
Right.
Are you guys still raising money for the album?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's and so there's a GoFundMe out there that people can find if they they can Google that.
donation.
Which Madeline
you know,
Bassard knows
gifts.
donated.
We've exceeded our the goal there, partly because we included with it after we realized how expensive it was to be in LA, even with AGT helping us out as much as they did. It was every meal was like $200, and there was 4 and 5 of us there, so that we could all be there to support her. So we made the campaign part of the expenses of people traveling with her.
Yeah.
And so we spent some money on that. The rest is being spent on the album. Any additional money that gets raised is just going to make the album better. So even though we've exceeded our goal, every cent just goes into making her album that we're recording now even better.
It's amazing.
Yep.
It's amazing.
What a time, y'all.
What a time.
What a time.
Final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns.
And we'll come back when the album's ready to release.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Share
We'd
all
love to
that.
have
We
you
have a
back.
little listening party.
Dun,
Yes.
dun.
You heard it here first.
You heard
folks.
it here.
In fact, we'll make this the first listening party.
Hey, let's go.
Ooh.
You know. Oh, by the way, did I say that we were going to record parts of it here?
Hey.
I didn't get a chance to mention it to them yet.
Hey now.
Wait a minute.
Sorry, fam. There's been a lot happening. It's
Hey,
been a crazy
now.
holiday
Yo,
season.
y'all not gonna make me cry in here. I tell
yeah.
you what. Hey, Big Dad, thank you
we
guys for watching the YDD show. We'll see you.
We love y'all. We love
We'll
y'all.
see you next time.
Bye.
Love y'all.
Peace.